So just quickly, yes, I'm a character artist. I worked in the industry for a long time. I'm currently working for Blur Studio. Blur Studio is a company which is making uh, trailers for games, create content for Love, Death and Robot, for instance, some movies also, some different stuff. It's a great company, and in this company, my job is to produce characters. Um, if you look at my portfolio, you can see I'm doing a lot of characters. Most of this is character for my personal work. Few of them, it's also for Blur Studio. What all these characters are in common, it's all done, not all done in ZBrush, but at some point I'm using ZBrush for these characters. Most of the time, it's the starting point. I'm starting in ZBrush, try to find the shape, try to find what I want, refine it until I get something that can use in other software like Cinema 4D, Maya, or stuff like that, and make some renders. So today, what I will try to show you, it's my process, my workflow. So starting from nothing in ZBrush to something that can be used in production. So I won't be able to go really into details because I'm short on time, but hopefully I will show you all the main steps. So ZBrush, if you know it, the UI is totally different from this one. What is very important with ZBrush, first, you have to make yourself at home in ZBrush, because ZBrush, most of the time, you're going to use this menu here. And use this menu here, you can find pretty much all the features in ZBrush, but it's a very huge menu. Each menu has a sub-menu, and you can see there are a lot. And you will spend lots of time going to this menu. This is why it's very important to know what you want to do, the tools you are used to, and to make your custom UI. So basically, this is mine. I won't go into details, but I have almost all I need here. From time to time, I'm going to go to the main menu, mostly for the subtools and some other features. And also about the menu, I did my own menu here, which I can bring here with a hotkey. So it's also for efficiency. That way I can have access to different features very easily without wasting time. So that's it for the UI on ZBrush in general. When I'm starting a project, any project, the first step is to get reference. You can't do anything without references. For today, I will try to make a gorilla head. At least I will try. So I will bring my reference in ZBrush. Here, I will go to texture, import. I will take this. Oops. ZBrush has a great feature. It's called Spotlight. You can take an image, put it in the spotlight, move it where you want, and basically it will help me have my reference always on my screen. I can bring other images. I will take this one, this one, this one, scale it. I will scale this one, put this here, this one here, maybe this one here. Okay. Okay, so I'm good with that. I will just move my working space on the side. So I always have an eye for my references, and I can start working. I will just deactivate Spotlight. I usually like to work with a light background to see my silhouette more, because when you use the default ZBrush background, it's very dark, and the gray background, I feel you don't see the silhouette really well. From there, I will just start without taking care of the topology. If you look at this sphere, you see there's some topology, stuff like that. On the first stage of my modeling, I will just focus on trying to find my shape. So for this, I use only simple shape brushes. The main one is the clay buildup, this one. Just make sure the floor, I see my floor. Okay. So I will basically start working with my shape. Other brush that I use a lot is the move brush to get the main shape. You can mask, I will use this one, some area, like this, then I will move, like this. Try to find the eyes, the mouth. Ear will be here. Doesn't look very good right now. Hopefully it will get better. With the move tool, you can use the AQ curve actually. If you move, it will move with a smooth curve. With the AQ curve, it will move but with a pointy curve. So basically, it allows me to get something sharper. Like this. Just focusing on the main shape so far. I don't want to go into details. So now what you see here, you can see some stretching because I don't have enough topology. To deal with this, you can, I can do some Dynamesh. Dynamesh basically will re-topologize all my mesh while keeping the shape. So I will just reduce a bit the resolution. I don't want to go into detail, so broad resolution is perfectly fine right now. Okay. Okay. What also I really like to do at this stage, basically in ZBrush, your brush, you can either add volume, remove volume, or smooth. Smoothing is good, but when I'm starting to block my shape, actually I want something sharper to get a shape that is more refined. So what I can do, instead of using smooth, I can hold the shift key for the smooth and select another brush. And I will use this brush instead of the smoothing brush. And the one I'm using usually is a flattened one. So I can do this kind of stuff. Instead of smoothing, I'm doing a flatten at the same time. Like that. This stage is actually very simple in the process, but it's the most important one because it's the one that will define your character until the end. If you don't have a right shape at the beginning, you won't get something great at the end because the overall shape, so it's the first thing you see. When you see your model from far, it's the main shape that you will see, not the detail. It's useless to go into detail very short in the process. Okay. Up. Up. I won't spend too much time on the here because I don't have time. Just get the shape on the side correctly. What also is good idea from time to time is to switch some matcap. Matcap is basically some visualization, trying to find some metallic aspect or stuff like that. And it's great to switch between different matcap to have a better understanding of the shapes. Also, what I like to do with basic cap like that, it's to play with the light. So I can see in real time if my shape is working correctly or not. Okay. I'm starting to get there. I will now move into finer detail, so I need to subdivide it to be able to work a bit better, have a bit more resolution. From time to time, also on this stage, what I like to do, because it's very bumpy, it's very crappy on the surface, I will use a clay polish. The clay polish will basically smooth out the planar area while keeping the hard edge. And at this stage, it's nice because it will give some nice shape like this. And you can see, I can focus clearly on only the shapes, the main shapes. Move the nose, proportion. Give it more bigger neck. Well, this won't really be a gorilla head, but something that kind of look like it. Okay. Up. Okay, the shape, the main shape for today will be all right. I don't have time to refine and to get closer to the reference. I will just use the dam standard to define more of the shapes, the mouth. Up. So you see, there's now many tools that you need to for this stage, but it's just having some time, taking time, having some good references. Also, one tool I didn't show that I'm using a lot when trying to figure out some shapes and stuff like that is the clip curve. The clip curve, oops, is a tool that actually allow you to quickly remove some shapes on the silhouette. So it's nice to cut stuff out and to get some nice sharp angle. Like that. On the neck here. Oops. Oops. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Trying to get something a bit sharp, to get some nice planar shapes, to get the light. I'm starting to get almost there. I'm almost ready for the next stage. Just refining a bit the node. So as you see, right now, I'm still doesn't care about topology, about any constraint. My only focus is the shapes of my sculpt. I adjust this one, trying to be. Okay, let's say it's fine for today. I will just smooth out a bit there here. Just refining this area a bit. Okay, for today, I don't have much time to spend on this part of the process, so let's say I'm happy with what I have here. Just cleaning up this part, this part. Now, as you see, this is the topology I have. Right now, it's totally unusable in production. What I want is to be able to use this character in the end for animation or stuff like that. Most of the time, when you're working on animation for characters, the topology will be done in other software. But from time to time, for time reason or for maybe because you're going to use this on a background character or stuff like that, or you don't have constraints on fashion animation, you can do topology in Zbrush. Zbrush actually does a pretty good job with retopology. I will delete the subdivision. My process when working with Zbrush is first, I will show you why later. I don't want the brush. The tool, I will duplicate this stage, up, and I will work on the second one. I will redo quickly the clay polish, and now I want to do my retopo. On my retopo on this model, I don't want to have topology on this part of the model. This is useless. So I will cut this with this tool. I will do this. So it creates another polygroup. I'm just going to take this and delete hidden, which is here. So my topology will work without this part. Now, topology, it's quite easy. You just have to use the Z-remesher. I will just lower the resolution. Z-remesher usually gives you a nice topology straight away. If I just use it by default, you're going to see it will be most likely okay. Take a bit of time. Okay, so you can see it's actually quite usable. You can control it if you want, if you have some specific request or you want some specific loops. There's a Z-remesher tool which allow you to basically draw some line, and ZBrush will try to follow this line for the rotopo. So if you want some line around here, let's say you want the topology to go this way here, and here around the neck this way, and maybe that way. It doesn't work all the time, but actually most of the time it tries to follow it. So I will just, for the nose, I will just refine it to get something a bit better. Here. Same for the mouth. I want more refinement here. And I will redo my Z-remesher, but with this guide now. So try to remember the placement of the line. And you can see it tried quite well to keep the line, the placement. If your model is very complex with different shapes, it won't work that much. But you have to remember that it's an automatic process, and for the time you spend on this stage, it's very, very efficient. If you're doing just look depth, for instance, on a character, it quite sufficient. But as I said, most of the time you can start with that actually and go in other software and making some refinement and stuff like that. Okay, well, no, I have that. That's great, but I lost some details. I had this before, and now I have that. So because I have a nice topology, I can work with subdivision. Subdivision actually in ZBrush allow you to work in different resolution. Basically, if you zoom on your model, I'm zooming, you don't see the polygon here because there are so many polygons. I'm at 2 million polygons right now. What's great with working with a lot of polygons, it's you have a lot of resolution to go into details. But as I said, I lost some details while making my when reworking my topology. So what I can do, it's why I saved my mesh before, it's just putting my subtool, my first one here. I activate both of them, we can see them. So I have mine here, the other one here, and I will use a projection. Projection basically will take your current subtool and will try to find the model that is under and try to fit it. So project every polygon onto the model that is under it. So let's go. Let's see what it's going to do. Oh, I have 2 million polygons, so it can take some time on this laptop. It's not a very powerful laptop. Usually on a workstation, it's quite efficient. You can make some projection with lots of polygons. Okay, done. So basically, we see that everything was projected correctly. So I have this now. I will lower a bit the resolution and I will start to smooth out my shapes. Okay. I can also, from time to time, use a clay build-up here to get something fine. So now it's time to get to the second stage, the secondary details, and after that I will go to the tertiary details. So basically, secondary details, now that I have my nice topology, will be to make the main wrinkle, the main refine the nose, refine the eyes, and stuff like that. I'm usually working almost with the same tools, but in a much smaller detail, much smaller scale. Like that. I will use a lot more the Damien standard. Like that. Like that. Don't be too afraid sometimes to add some details, like some wrinkle, like that, like that. Go too extreme and smooth them out. Because sometimes you can get some nice shapes just because you're going too extreme and you smooth out your details. So I'm going to have some detail here, here, here. I will use this one. A stronger intensity, or maybe a bit too strong. When I'm working with this stage, there's a great tool I'm using all the time. It's called the morph target. Morph target, it's here. Store morph target, basically what it's doing, it will keep in memory your sculpt at this stage. So I'm storing my morph target. And now everything that I will do, I mean, I can sculpt everything. I can go really extreme because I have always in memory my stage before. And I will show you why it's very useful feature, very powerful. Okay. I will, oops. See how I've got very, very strong on the nose. It's not a trouble. I will go same here, very strong. Up, up, like this. So why I said it's not a trouble? Because if you remember, I have my store target. I can switch here. I think I have a hotkey. No, I will put a hotkey. I can switch between my two versions. Why is it useful? First, it's useful because you can see if the work you did was actually useful. Sometimes you work long time and you just too focus on your subject, and at the end you did some shit. You came back and say, what? It was way better 2 hours before. It happened all the time. So it's great to always have the morph target to be able to see that. But what is also great with the morph target, it works with the morph brush. When I have the morph brush, basically, I can make a transition with the brush from one stage to the other one. So if I take the nose, for instance, I can kind of erase what I did and make it a lot softer. Same for here. I had this before, I had this now, but I want something to be somewhere in between. So I will just erase a bit what I did. So morph target, something very, very useful. Okay. Okay, now I will add some details here. So this process is always the same. Spend time refining. There's no real magic or real secret tools for this. It's just time. Okay. And as you see, I'm not very worried about smoothing often what I do, because in the end, it gives you a lot of small details, some information. It's become more organic that way. Okay. Also, what you can do, I usually don't use it that much on this stage. I'm using it more on tertiary details. It's to use the layer system. Layer system actually allow you to make like Photoshop. Where is it? Here. Up, 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 up. Layers. Like in Photoshop, it allows you to work on different layers. For instance, if I'm working here, I can add some detail on that layer. Here, here, here. And I can create another one with details. No, actually, it's not very good way to show this. And since it's on layer, you can turn them off. I will show it later with details. It will be better that way. It's a bit too soon to show this. A bit too strong on intensity. Try to linking at the reference to get something that is quite realistic. Okay, something like that. Maybe some more wrinkle here. I'll try to add some here too. More on the nose. And since that's another good advantage to have a lot of subdivision, you can always go back to your lower subdivision and modify a bit the main shape. So now if I want to modify it, because I feel some parts are not looking great, it's easy to do it because I don't have a lot of polygon to move. I can focus on the main shape. Something more like that. Up, this here. And I want the eye a bit more like that. And I refine the nose. And go back to some shapes. The eyes, shape, I don't like too much. Position of the eye. That way. Okay, so now I will move to secondary details. It's where I will need the layers. So I will say that basically my secondary details are there. If I'm looking it from this distance, I can have the feeling of what I want. But if I'm looking from close, I don't have any details there. It's missing some stuff. So this is now at this stage that I will move to really fine details. I don't do fine details until at least this stage is validated for me. So I will create a layer. This will be my main layer. So I will always have a backup for this stage. And I'm creating another one. And I will add details. So basically details, I'm going to use some alphas. This one, for instance. This is some brush I made from my own. This one, for instance, will create some kind of lasery effect. I will try to make it bigger. Maybe trying to put the light a bit here so we can see the effect. I'm not sure if you can see it. I will. There. This will create this lasery effect. And this kind of detail is great when you look from close. But as you see, if you look it from far away, you don't see it. It's why it's important not to do it too soon in the process. So I will add some more like this. And same here. Actually, I totally forgot to do it, but at this stage, most of the time, what I'm doing before starting, I'm record a morph target. You can have only one morph target, so you have to use it at the right time. But since I have layer, what can I do now? Because I forget about my morph target, I can just turn off my layer, so I don't have any more my sculpted details. I will record my morph target, and I will recreate my layers. And now I can go and move or remove. Oops. What did I do? Oh yes, I need to activate my layer first. I can remove some of this wrinkle if I find them to be too strong. So same process. For instance, I don't want wrinkle on the eyes area. Maybe I want to turn it down on the nose. Maybe same from the lips. I don't want this kind of details for the lips. And so on. Maybe same from here. Okay, so I'm fine with these fine details. Now I will create another layer, and with this other layer, I will create a different pattern. So what I can do, I will turn on my first one. I will activate my second one. Oh, I don't want to see it in white. And for this second one, I'm going to use this one. Okay. I will make it stronger. Same, I'm making the light so you can see it better. This one will make some kind of pore details, this kind of stuff. Okay, I need to control the intensity, maybe the size. Yes, this kind of stuff. Up. And same as for the lasery effect. After, it's all a matter of placing it correctly. And when you have your different layer, what you can do is activate them both and see where this fit together correctly or where it don't. I will say it's okay for now. I don't have much time to do some cleanup. I will do another layer, and this time I will work on I will use actually this detail I've just created to add some fine details. So let's say I have some lines I like. I will try to refine this by hand. This will give you some nice resolution, some nice detail at the end, trying to make everything merging together in a nice way. It's a bit too strong. Like this, like this, this. Time, okay. I don't have much time for this process, but I guess you get the idea. The goal is to make sure everything works together. I will try to make some nice here. And yes, same here. Maybe on the nose here, I have something nice going around, up, like this. Okay. Okay, so let's say for this stage, I don't have enough time to spend on this stage anymore. So basically, I spend my time on this. My secondary details are good. I like my model. I'm all good. It's always hard to stop sculpting this kind of details. I love it. It's time consuming, but I don't know. There's some kind of okay, let's say I'm good with this. I have all my details. Now what I want is to add some color to it, because I can have a nice model, but now I want to add some color. To add some color, it's actually quite easy. You only have to paint on your model. Every brush in Zbrush, most likely, can be used either to sculpt or to give colors. I will just use a simple standard brush. Instead of using the add or sub to add volume or remove volume, I will use the RGB, which actually gives some color to your model. So by default, it will be white. I will start with something. Let's try to do some kind of bluish gorilla. I will fill my model with this color. And why it's not working? Colorize. Okay. So now I have my main color. What I usually do is I'm going to the lower subdivision and start, same as the sculpture actually, I will start very broad in the first time to block my main color, to get the main idea. So I want to make it darker on this part. Here, there. I will make it darker also for the eyes, maybe here. And I will take some lighter color there. So this will be basically my main colors. And now I will go into my division to add some details to this paint. So what you can do, because you see this model with matcap can be very confusing when you're working with color. I mean, this one, if you look at this model is white. If you look only at the, I would say the diffuse, but because of the matcap, you don't see it. Same for this one. So what is useful is to use a flat color. So this is actually my color. So when I have a basic understanding of what will be the placement of my color, usually I'm moving to flat color and starting working to this stage. Some stuff I can do is to use some alphas and to use some spray which actually give you some diffusion of the alpha over the model. It can be nice to get some, we'll make it clear here, this kind of pattern effect. So based on your color, based on what you want to do, this kind of stuff. I will make a bit reddish, some kind of vein. And I didn't say, but it's the same as a brush, as a brush in Zbrush. I mean, if you make a very if you make some color here, you can use the smooth brush, but instead of using the Z-add option, you just use the RGB. This allows you to smooth color. So this can be useful to blend some stuff. Now I will smooth it a bit. Okay, I'm running short of time. So I will use some nice alpha, not this one, this one. And I can use a drag to add some vein. For instance, oh, it's a bit too strong. This kind of stuff. Up, a bit darker. Oh, it's a bit too strong, but so you can add some pretty much some fine detail. What is really great when you're working with the diffuse, it's masking. Masking, there are a bunch of stuff in masking. Basically, masking is to allow you to mask some part of your model. If I take this, and when you're working, you're not working on the masked part. It's working also the same with the color. I mean, if I take the diffuse, it won't work on the masked part. There is a masking by cavity. Masking by cavity basically will look at your model information and will make a mask based on if it's a crease or if it's a peak. And when you're working with diffuse, I will go back. This is very interesting because you can work only on the crease. For instance, if I'm doing this, I will take this. I will paint only on the crease. Here, I can mask my mask. So my mask is always there, but you don't see it anymore. There are hotkey for it. So I'm working on my crease now. I will invert my mask. I'm adding it, and now I will work on the bump part of my model. And you can get some nice effect that will give you some very nice info. Okay. Maybe turn this down a bit. It's a bit too strong. Same here. So after the process, it's just a matter of tweaking And the same as the sculpting path, it's just refining, trying to find the good placement for your maps, the good place. Smoothing. Okay, like this. I want to be a bit stronger here. And I will be totally dark. Oops. What happened? Why? I have baked material. What happened? Oh, this material change. I don't know why. Where is it? Oh, flat color here. Oh, I don't know. Well, I will keep with this one. What? Oh, yes, of course. Okay, so let's say I have not much time. Let's say I'm totally happy with this model. I did all I wanted. I am happy with the modeling. I'm happy with the diffuse. Now I need to get this model into my main 3D package for animation and rendering. What I will do, I will export this model. This one will be animated, but I need to export also my texture. So for that, I need to create some UVs. So usually UVs can be done in other package, but same as topology, you can do it in Zbrush with the UV master. You just need to go to UVs, unwrap, and you have your UVs. If I'm checking with the texture here, you can see that distortion is quite good, and it's actually quite usable. It's not optimized, so in the end, I won't use that. But in the first stage, when you're doing some look dev, it's kind of enough. Now that I have my UVs, I can export all my maps. So I just need to go to my plugin, multi-map exporter. Basically, multi-map exporter will export your map. So I will export a displacement, in this case a normal, and a texture. There's some bunch of settings, I won't get into there. I just need to create. I will choose a folder. I put it there. Name, Kong, and I will export this. It's done. So now if I'm going to my folder, maps, you can see that I have my displacement map. So as I said, it's not optimized. You see on these UVs, half of the map is not used. So it's not something I will use in the end. But for a first stage, it's perfectly fine. I have my normal map. It's a workspace, but it's not a problem anymore. And I have my diffuse. So basically with this, I have everything I need to go to my 3D package and do some rendering, animation, and stuff like that. So I guess it was kind of content. It was short. I hope it was all good. So that's it. It's done.